Hi, I'm Matt. I just completed my second week in my Master's of Supply Chain Engineering at Georgia Tech. And this week I wanted to look at warehouse management system and different types of storage from our textbook reading. So, inside the warehouse management system, there's often a software package to manage all the inventory, keep track of all the storage locations, and trying to manage your workforce effectively so that orders are handled as quickly as possible. Currently, there are over 300 individual workhouse management systems. The largest still holds less than 20% of the market, so there's room for growth in every single software out there. They're written in a variety of language, from COBOL, PL1, Fortran, to C, C++, and SQL. Moving on to the basic features of a warehouse management system is appointment scheduling, receiving, quality assurance, put away, location tracking, work order management, packing and consolidation, and then shipping. Higher end features that maybe not every warehouse management system has are RF directed operation, cycle counting, carton manifesting, replenishment, value added services, vendor carrier compliance, so making sure the vendor rules and regulations align with the carrier rules and regulations, and making sure those rules are satisfied. Trailer manifesting configurability, returns, pick put to light, yard management, wave management, so sometimes holding orders for a little while and then releasing in large waves so that you can fill your orders more efficiency with your workforce so that their time is used wisely and you're very productive with your picking for a large workforce. Labor management, task interleaving, so tying tasks together, flow through processing, and then additional features which may be even rarer. So a multi distribution center view, SKU slotting, broken case flow, EDI capability, partial shipping, impact analysis, traffic management, import export management, and ASP capability. So moving on to the second chapter, which was covered in the reading, there are four types of pallet racks that were covered in our reading, four types of forklifts, conveyors, and the fact that they change the economics of travel. So generally, it's assumed that most workers would be walking. So a conveyor allows things to move from one area to another without having to be walked, and therefore shrinks the landscape of a warehouse by allowing things to move at a faster rate. And then sorting equipment, which can be on the pricier side, but has the issue of, I guess it's not really an issue, allows workers to work in batch and lets things to be separated out at a sorting station rather than having to pick each order individually. So the first type of storage rack is a single deep storage rack in which a forklift could pick each individual pallet. This is not the densest form of storage because the forklift needs to be on one side, needs to be able to pull the pallet out, and therefore the row needs to be large enough for the forklift to drive out with the pallet. Then there's double deep storage, so you may have to unload one pallet and then reload a different pallet to get to a back row pallet, but oftentimes you would store it by SKU so that you have the same type of product behind each other, behind the similar type of product. So you're going to one location but can the same thing is stored in that location but too deep. So it's a more efficient way in some ways. Then you have a pushback rack, in which you have to pull out a set of racks. So it could be 3 or 4 deep, but then the physics can be a little bit more tricky, or weight classifying. But then you can, in effect, have a 3 or 4 deep row, and then pull each individually. Moving on to drive-in or drive-through racks. So these are also a efficient way to store, but maybe trickier to pull pallets off. So then there's the pallet flow rack. This has each individual layer is tilted, so as you remove something, the next row of product will come to the front. So this is very similar to how milk cartons are stored in your local grocery store. Moving to the counterbalance lift truck, you're kind of the forklift that you think of when you think of a forklift. Then you have the double reach forklift, which has twice the height accessibility that a normal forklift has. Then you have a turret truck, which has the forklift can twist so that you can work in a smaller row and shrink the size of rows, therefore saving storage and therefore storage space and saving money and increasing the overall size that your warehouse, or well, decreasing the size that your warehouse has to be. Then you have a stacker crane, which is typically attached to a warehouse storage system or warehouse row, but is a lot smaller. Maybe not quite attached, but it allows the size for the road to be even smaller, kind of like the turret truck. But it's also safe in that the driver is in a box, but there are different safety standards that come with that. Then moving on to other stuff that's going on this week and last week. Supply chain engineering and warehouse distribution. We just covered kind of what was above in the past week and looked at in a little closer detail each piece of new terminology as it came up. In Operations Research 1, we started looking at matrices and the simplex algorithm. Operations Research 2, we looked at Bayes' law, and then discrete versus continuous probability functions. Then in entrepreneurial finance and private equity, we looked at venture capital and angel investing. But then the biggest use of my time over this past week and future weeks was the job recruitment season and career fair. It feels kind of early, having just changed to supply chain engineering from aerospace, and I feel kind of unprepared, but I guess there's no better way to grow than kind of being thrown into the fire and sell myself as a supply chain engineer. I look forward to the upcoming weeks and trying to sell myself as a supply chain engineer, or soon to be complete supply chain engineer after this year-long education, this year-long master's program. Thanks for listening.